welcome to the Wunmi Bello Show. Every episode, I'll be bringing you unfiltered stories from old and new friends who've given me access into their most vulnerable and life-changing moments. Each conversation will take you on a therapeutic journey with laughter and refreshing relatability. I feel like everyone's you're gassing me right now. I'm excited. It makes me excited for the conversation.
Serious?
Yeah.
Where are we? Text call?
We are in my home.
Jesus, you're living good,
We're in my
fam.
home. I'm living all right.
There's candles. You've lit up like 7 candles.
But you know what?
Home I come to.
I'm a candles person. Like I'm like an incense. Like, how do you feel about incense?
I love incense.
Oh my god, we finished burning. I was out earlier, but very
Serious?
much, yeah.
My ex-girlfriend hated it, so then I basically stopped it for like 5-6 months.
So what would you say are you quite spiritual?
I'm just a Rasta, whatever that means.
What does that mean?
For me, it means that I have faith. And I think like the most important thing is to understand that if this is life and people have been here beforehand, for me to just come to my own conclusions about everything is silly. There's people that have been here before, and the people that I relate to the most are Rastafarians, and the faith that they have gives me a lot of confidence to know that things are going to be okay, cuz. So more time, I just have faith.
Do you believe in God?
Of course. God is 100% real, man. Like, for people to justify everything that's on planet Earth due to man, that means that you've believed a man. And I just can't believe man when I'm in a world where we're born into sin and there's so many hypocrisies, there's so many things that are wrong. It's nice to believe in something that's not here. Do you know where I'm coming from?
Feel you, yeah.
And I believe God is that.
I can't lie to you, like I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while, only because I'm, to be honest, and I think we've had a conversation off camera, but I've taken in a lot of your content over the years. You know, we're talking back to like Compa 90 days and all things like that. And obviously we have our mutual friend Yasmin, who I fucking love.
Little Yasmin,
shout out to Yasmin Diaz. That's my girl.
Her.
I love Yasmin. And I know that she speaks so highly of you. And I think when
person.
I approached Yasmin, I was like, Yas, like I'm not gonna lie, like I really want to talk to Poet. I feel like, you know, from the conversations I've watched of his, he just seems like he has such an amazing energy. And I think that, you know, obviously there's, you know this already, there's like quite a few things that people outside of like the space, by the space I mean the UK media industry, that, you know, the audience have like to say about you. And I think that on my end, from the stuff that I've been able to watch, I think there might be perhaps like a misunderstanding of you.
The killer is, this is the truth. I've done this job for so long.
Yeah.
All I follow is the people that I love and trust.
Yeah.
So everything externally that potentially might make the view of me confusing, I have no awareness of.
Do you know?
Because I don't...
I love that. You don't take it in.
Because blogs have been around for a short period of time than me. So I won't follow them. They will follow me. And I don't say that arrogantly. I say that from the perspective of, like, I done this when there was nothing. Not because I believed there was going to be something. I did believe there was going to be something. But not to capacity what we see now.
Yeah.
So I just lived my life. And then the blogs have caught on to me living my life and then polarized everything I do to an ignorant audience.
Yeah.
And then people say whatever they like. But I don't know any of this. I don't follow the blogs. Like, no
is that intentionally? Like, do you not follow these blog pages because you...
But why would I follow them?
Okay.
I don't understand my like, I like to follow things that are either very relatable to me or inspire me. And no disrespect to the blog pages, we all got to get our money our own way. But especially when the blog pages are putting like stuff about my kids, like, I say this confidently, like, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, those are the most precious people to me on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So if them blog pages had a face and they were a person, I would slap them when I see them.
Absolutely.
Not because I think I'm bad, but you're endangering the life and the future of my 2 children. So if you want to know how serious this is to me, I will display that to you. So I just try to take my distance from it because I understand there's an ignorant group of individuals there that don't understand me and my culture and my people. And as long as my people understand me, I don't care, man.
And I think that's, you even saying that, you know, understanding me and like my culture and whatever else, I think that kind of starts off the conversation at such a great point for me. Because for me, throughout this whole conversation, when, you know, thinking to myself, and this is what I do all the time, where I'm like, oh, like, what do I want to like get out of this conversation? For me, it's like, more than anything, I'm like, I want to know Poet. Like, I want to know what Poet is about. I want to know what Poet believes. I want to know what are the things that kind of hits him. What are the things that make him tick? What are the things that make him happy? What are the things that makes him feel joyous? And I want to, I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of my interviews, but I'm all about stripping everything. And I think for me, the greatest way to strip anything is going back to childhood, because as you know, like, you know, childhood is like the one aspect of yourself that the world can't taint, because it's you. It's before you even get to almost like an acceptance or like an understanding of, you know, what's going on externally. Everything is very much internally. So talk to me about your childhood. Talk to me about what your family dynamic was like. Obviously, I do know some stuff just because I've done a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I've done a lot of research. It's my thing. I've done a lot of research, of course. So talk to me about your childhood. What was that like for you and everything else?
What aspect of it? Like, what do you mean when you say
so
childhood?
like, what was your dynamic like with your parents, for example? Let's start off there.
My parents, like, and I love them, obviously. I have a lot of understanding about black culture in the sense of, like, imagine coming here in the 1960s, 1970s, where there's not a lot of black people. You're kind of going to stick to your own because everyone else wants to kill you because you're black. So I get my parents' dynamic from that perspective. But unfortunately, because they didn't have loads of black people to sort of, like, talk to and experiment with, they ended up just the best of the worst for them. So my perception of my parents when I was growing up was that they were under a lot of pressure when they were younger to do things that they probably didn't want to do, but they fell in it due to circumstances, i.e. having children, i.e. having a house together and all of that. So I begin to wonder if my parents' situation was more based upon love or convenience. And I don't say that like disrespectfully to them. I say that honestly, like, I don't think love can be misconstrued. Love is one thing, the same way football is one thing, the same way a sofa is one thing, the same way a fridge is one thing. But what happens is because love, the indication of love within the Western world is not clear, people make their own perception of it and like to just, and they've been, imagine like living for 16 years, it's the year 2021, but you have your own perception of love. Love was here before you. When you die, love will be here after you. So I think there's a lack of respect for what love is. And I told my parents that, like, you have a lack of respect for love. So you should break up. You're not boring because you're on here every day.
I feel like to even get to that understanding or that perspective, you must have seen something. So it describes to me one moment in your parents' dynamic where you've been like, this ain't love. Like this is convenience. Or this is something else beyond love.
So like in year 5, I had a teacher called Miss Joseph, and she's like the first black teacher I had. She had a level 1 like Cisco or Julie. I was like, this is lit. Maybe I can chat to her on a level.
Wait,
so, yeah, cuz she reminded me of Julie, fam. Like, it was lit.
Don't kill me right now.
So I talked to her one time. Like, we done this whole, like, before I spoke to her, we done this whole story on Benin and what Benin was in Africa. And, like, we done this, like, it was so lit. It reminded me a lot of my dad, who was, he's a Rasta. He's proper on this thing. So one time I came in, my mum and dad argued literally every single day. I kid you not. At least Monday to Friday. They argued every single day to the point in my mind, your parents arguing was normal.
Wow.
So like when I spoke to Miss Joseph, she was like to me, you look really troubled today. Did anything happen that was like not normal? I was like, no, everything happened that usually happens. She asked me what happened.
Yeah.
So I told her.
Yeah.
My parents argued, they swore at each other. They told me to go and wait in the car. I waited in the car for 45 minutes. Then my dad came in and joined me to school and told me not to worry about what happened upstairs. But that happened every day, so I didn't really know, I don't know any different.
Yeah.
When I explained that to her, she was bare baffed.
That your parents were arguing?
So then she called my mum in. And then I had to say to my mum, I lied. I had to say to my mum, I'm sorry, mum, I lied about the whole thing. Because my mum will beat the shit out of me.
Wow.
And I proper trusted Miss Joseph. So when she done that, I was like, shit, this actually isn't normal. And she's called someone in because she's concerned for me. Like, I don't think she would have done it to throw me under the bus. So I clocked that from like year 6, year 5. I was like, what, 10, 11? I was like, nah. I could tell from like the way she spoke to me, she wasn't a bad person. So I didn't actually understand why she said what she said to my mum, but I knew she felt, to some extent, she was compromised within her workplace. So I didn't hold no remorse to her. I was just like, all right, so this isn't normal. So then like from that moment, I was just like, my parents are dickheads. Like, if you don't like each other, just break up, go elsewhere. But I was very ignorant to their situation.
How did you... Okay, so there's 2 parts in that for me. So in what way would you say you were ignorant to their situation?
I was too young to know about relationships, the dynamics of relationships. You're just naive into thinking everyone should be good. And you don't understand that life actually potentially makes you quite bad. Life actually, and the circumstances that are presented in life, make you compromise your morals and make you compromise bare stuff. And yeah, like when you're younger, you just think, be good, we're all love, we're all people. And then... Peace. Shut up. And then I was like, shit, like, raw. That's just not the way the life is.
Yeah.
And I was exposed to way too much as a child. So, and what I was exposed to, let me know, my parents 100% they may have loved each other, but they didn't want to be with each other. They were just like, well, what else are we going to do? There's minimal black people in the country. Like, me and you were here. We've got a child now. Like, my dad wasn't even there when I was born. So, like, all of that led me to believe that, this is just circumstantial.
I don't want to fast track the conversation a lot, but I just want to ask this now so I don't forget. But does that change your perception of love? Like, when you get into relationships with people, are you very much, not change in sense of like, oh, you don't want love, because that's a different conversation, but I mean, change in the sense of you're very cautious in regards to what kind of people you get with, because you're like, I don't want this kind of love.
Nah, man.
Okay.
Life is a beautiful thing. I don't know everything. I'm never going to know everything, because I'm just a passenger in life. Yeah. Life is a massive thing. So in my head, I'm just like, why should I be cautious on doing the right thing? The only thing I have to be cautious of the character in which I'm doing it to. So I have to not be ignorant to people's characters and understand the dynamic of someone. But in terms of compromising who I am, if I'm not doing anything bad, I'm not prepared to do that. Because I genuinely love everyone on this planet. I will fucking like die for anyone on this planet if I had to. But the people that I'm willing to go, wait a minute, are the people that don't have an understanding that without people, we are shit. Like, people that live for themselves, I try to distance myself from them. Because I'm just like, you're doing so much for yourself. Do you not understand? If we all had that perception, this world would be in shit. Like, somebody has to think about the next person beside them. So, like, I was given a dick, not to wank, but to porn every night, like, to have sex with somebody else. So, without even any knowledge, I'm here to interact with other people. So I would like to interact in the best possible way. And I just think a lot of people, due to the circumstances they're in, whether it be their parents or, especially if you're an ethnic minority, genuinely live for themselves. And I just think that's a bit trash.
Let's like kind of pull things back in just a little bit, because I think it's important before we kind of go into the kind of conversations that I want to get into. Okay, so talk to me about who Poet was before we were introduced to poets. I'm talking about like the childlike poet. Describe to me what his personality was like, how similar he is to the poet that is sitting next to me right now. What are some of the things that he used to do that used to bring him joy? What made him happy growing up? I want to know. I'm telling you, like, lay everything down on the table for me. I want to know. So,
like, before 14, I was just confused as fuck. And my dad didn't want to be around too much, if at all. And when he was around, he was very distant. But then when my brother was born, he was there. So I had an understanding that maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is. It's not my fault. I'm just like, I didn't have the option. It's not a computer game. I didn't press option and go, choose your dad, choose your mom. Like, I'm just here, innit? So I knew he wasn't connected to me for whatever reason, but I didn't hold it against him. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. My dad had no connection with me, and because of that, he was distant. But with my brother, he was well into my brother. Take my brother everywhere, do everything with my brother. So when I was younger, I just kind of tried to figure out why my family wasn't a family. And that's all I did every day. And then when I came to my own conclusion, my whole thing was, let me try and repair this family. So I used to literally like do anything to stop arguments. Like, I would do all the housework. I didn't give a damn whose responsibility it was. I would do everything in the house just to make my mom happy, so my mom could talk to my dad normal, and then like we could all have without any arguments. So like, that's just all I remember. Just trying to be a service to my family and not just trying to do anything for my family, not to argue, because it didn't take much.
Can I ask you a question? Did that take away from like, okay, so obviously you have kids now, right? And you watch your kids, and I think that because of what you experienced as a child, you are very, correct me if I'm wrong here, you're very intentional with the way that you are as a father. You allow them to be themselves, you allow them to express yourself.
Do you want,
themselves. Man. So when you look at them, does that make you feel like, almost as though your childhood was kind of like stripped away from you because you were so focused on ensuring that there was no source of arguments in your household to have that much of like a real family as possible?
Maybe. I've never really thought of that. What I did think of is like I'm not with the mother of my kids right now in any capacity, and I can't imagine of us ever being together. And that's exactly my parents' situation. And it's like a lot of us, especially in black families, we try our hardest to try and like not replicate what our family done. But I'm ignorant to life. Like, it's not like an instruction manual that comes. So if I'm witnessing that 24/7, then essentially I have better knowledge on that than anything else.
Ooh, yeah,
and then
I get that.
Fuck, I've replicated exactly what my parents done, but even worse. So like, when it comes to that type of situation.
Why even worse?
Because the situation I'm in, like, I can't even, sometimes I'll fly to Sweden and not even see my kids. So it's like, my mum would never do that to my dad. My mum always allowed my dad to see the kids. Whereas with me, I've gone to Sweden 3 weekends in a row and not seen them. So, and that's down to my lack of education of knowing what a good person is in that capacity. As a friend, I've always known. But as your partner, I've had no idea because like, all the house families in my family are broken. No one's married. Like, no one's together. Everyone's single, even at this age. My mum's single. My uncles are single. So I don't even have a good... My grandparents, like, a mess. I don't have a good idea of what a stable family is. I have no idea. So... And then because I have no idea, I'm a bit naive. And I'm just like, let's just all be cool. So that's one thing I took away from my house family. I was just mad naive into thinking that as long as you try and make everyone happy, everything will be cool. Because I can't make anyone happy. Like, your happiness lives and exists within yourself. If you're unable to make yourself happy, then what you're asking me to do is to make you happy enough for yourself to make you happy, and then do the additional service that a person does. This makes me happy, you're an incredible person. But if I had a lack of love for myself, then you'd have to make me happy, and then make me happy for the part of myself that I don't have. And like, that's what I was trying to do. So
was that exhausting for you? I assume you were probably like 15 at the time, trying to get the family together and everything else.
I was 15 years old.
I was right. Good.
Yeah, my G. Doing like youth work to try and distract my parents from like what was happening in the household. To show them like, yo man, like look what I'm doing on the estate and so on and so forth. And it kind of worked, to be fair. But it was just trying to channel my parents' energy in what they had into something that could be more rewarding. Because them lot arguing was not rewarding. It just meant my dad disappeared for like, I don't know how long. And it was just all jarring. Like, it just wasn't, I did not grow up in a united family.
What's your relationship like with your dad? Because I feel like from just the short period that we've been talking, I don't know, I think you're still kind of like hurt by that dynamic. More than your mum's.
I'm not hurt. My thing is honesty. Honesty is the most important thing in life. I think every problem anybody has in life is because someone lied. If everyone was honest, then all it's come down to acceptance of the situation. But if someone's not honest, then you're dealing with a lie and you're trying to figure that out. And by the time you figure out it's a lie, you're so upset that you don't even want to sort anything out. So in my situation, it's the fact that my parents lied so much. And my dad, like, he lied. Like, you can tell me everything's not okay. It doesn't have to be okay, do you know what I mean?
But do you think that lie came from someone who... Because the reality is, like, we're in such a privileged generation where we're able to have so much knowledge accessible to us, because we have books, we have YouTube, we have, you know, speakers, we have so many things, whereas like our parents and the parents before them, they didn't have access to any of those things that made being honest, being transparent, being trusting, being loving as like a good thing. Like it wasn't really something that really mattered. All that kind of mattered was like work and family and like just going and like doing your own thing. That, do you feel like it's almost a necessary part of like your journey to kind of show grace to the, and I say this not just to you, but just to a lot of us, because I think it's because I'm not saying I have a similar childhood or childhood story to you or yours, but I didn't have my parents around either. Do you know what I mean? They weren't present in my life, and it's kind of taken me a very long time to get to a stage in my life where I've been like, do you know what? I have to kind of show you grace, because at the end of the day, the access that we have to information that we do, it's not the same as yours. There's so many people now who are able to be honest, who are able to read, who are able to write, who are able to acknowledge things in a way that we are able to, but our parents were never given that opportunity, because for them, a lot of them were immigrants, a lot of them were people who, you know, just had to do what they had to do to make things matter, to make things work. That at the forefront of their mind wasn't, let me be trusting, let me be honest, let me be a good, you know, parents. I'm not saying they didn't care about us. Do you know what I mean?
I understand fully where you're coming from, and I agree to a full extent. Like, especially Jamaicans, like Jamaicans were one of the first generations of black people within this country to come and rebuild the country. And then you look at Windrush, and my dad tells me the stories of racism. Like, I have a level of understanding to an extent, but I'm never gonna have the full understanding because I wasn't there. But I can tell you from what you went through, what I missed out on. And then I can tell my kids and my kids will one day tell me from what I went through, what they missed out on. So I'm just saying, at some point, we just have to be honest. Otherwise, we're just gonna have generations and generations of black people that are blaming trauma for the next generation being slightly fucked up. And I'm not saying that that's not justification. That genuinely is justification. It is, but at some point we have to put a stop to it because we're just hurting ourselves. We're just hurting our community. We're just hurting our people. And for me, I'm hurting my own children. So I have a lack of sympathy towards myself for the simple fact that I did something, I aligned myself with someone, which meant that my children are in a situation they're in right now. And the knowledge I got was from my previous situation, which was with my parents. So it's like, what do you want me to do? I don't know anything. I've come into life. You lot have shown me this. I understand why you showed me this. I get it. But now as a result, because you lot didn't take the time to just go, we're wrong and try to correct it, I've put myself in a situation through a lack of knowledge where now I have 2 children. I couldn't even fly to Sweden tomorrow and see them if I wanted to.
Wow.
So it's just like, how
till
much...
now, till today.
My G, man. Like, it's messed up like that. And I just think that if you grow a child in a situation, and I understand it's difficult, I'm not saying you have to, but if you grow a child in a situation that has understanding, simple understanding, life doesn't become so complex. Yeah. But when you justify everything with feelings, I'm never gonna understand where you're coming from, because that's based upon your life. My dad left home when he was 13. I'm never going to understand that.
Or what he went through when he left home at 13.
13 years old, leaving home in Jamaica.
Mad.
And that's the result of who you are today.
By himself. Wow.
I'm never going to understand that. So, but I will know the result of it.
Yeah.
And if you keep letting the history be the reasons why you are the way you are today without putting a level of understanding and saying, let me change and alter a couple of things, forget your life. You'll die one day. But you see the next generation of people, bruv, if you really care about life, they're fucked.
So, you mentioned something.
Yeah,
I'm interested to know. This guy's cut you off, but you said that obviously your dad you've experienced what. So your dad experienced what he experienced, and you know what it's led you to. Your kids have now experienced something else, and they've expressed that to you. So what are some of the things because of your experience that they've experienced that they've expressed to you? Does that make sense?
100%. They're only 4, so they won't be able to express it in a way that I'll fully understand at times to times, but. Just little things like, my kids are very distracted. So to have a lack of focus means that no one's ever showed you what's important. So if we've never showed you what's important and you're just out here trying to figure it out, how long does that last before someone shows you what's important? I don't have access to them as much as I would want. So I can't show them what's important all the time. So that means the place that they're at right now is not showing them what's the most important thing in life for you to focus on. And them individuals, I've seen them. I've done youth work for 10 years. They literally grow up looking for loads of things in life. My G, what are you looking for? You're born into a family. You're born into a culture. You're born into something. All you have to do is take a look at that. And the culture is so wide, you can find your part within it. But if nobody ever nurtures you, from the moment you were born within that culture, within that circle, of course you're going to go out and look for something else. I expect you to, because the place that you're from doesn't nurture you.
How does that make you feel, knowing that you are part of the reason as to why your kids now look elsewhere or are just not stable? How does that make you feel?
An absolute failure. Every day. An absolute failure.
How do you cope with that emotion?
It's hard. It's hard because those are my best friends.
Yeah, I've heard you. I remember the time we were on the phone, I was like, oh my God, kids, they seem so loving and
they're amazing.
Just so passionate about you.
They're amazing. And I can't let, one of the things you got to do, my mum didn't do it, I can't let my single emotion towards how upset I am with the mother of my kids for not giving my kids the best possible opportunity. I can't, and it's hard, but I can't express that in trying to raise my children, because I have to understand my children love their mum. And if I express that gives them a very complex situation. I don't want to make their life worse, but unfortunately, due to the complications my life has had, it's gonna make it hard. So, yeah, it puts you in a situation that you're not trained for, in any capacity. As much as people can give you advice, no one can really help you. It's more about you helping yourself and understanding why you're here, what you're meant to do, and then figure out all of the things that people are asking you to do, how that ties in with you and who you are. And that's harsh as well.
Yeah. When you say harsh, do you say harsh because it's brought you to a reality of self that you weren't willing to accept before? Then now you're being forced to kind of accept that, okay, cool, this is a change I need to make in myself to better the life or the experience my kids experience in life.
Look at it like this. Everyone in this room, we're all grown up to believe an ideal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we fight for this ideal. Whatever the ideal is, we fight for it. I've never fought for the ideal.
Why?
I've always accepted what's in front of me because the ideal will get me frustrated. Like my parents should get along, but they don't. So I've been here for like 16, 17 years. What the hell can I say to my parents to convince them to get along when they haven't been getting along before I was born? If they haven't acknowledged what they should do to get along, then break up. Like what the hell? But then I put in a situation where I'm forced to try and fix something that I have no control over. That's bad practice for human beings. I know loads of women that consistently try to repair men. What are you trying to repair? He doesn't even feel like he's broken. So what the hell are you trying to repair? Like it doesn't make sense. So within my situation with my children, I have to take into consideration what's actually broken doesn't consider itself to be broken. So for me to consistently force myself over there to repair something, I need you to let me know it's broken. Like if I worked, I don't know, fixing toilets, I'm gonna just turn up at a random person's house like, your toilet's broken, can I fix it?
Absolutely.
Like they need to let me know it's broken. And that's most people's life. So that's where I feel guilty. That's where I feel like an absolute failure because there's nothing I can do to improve the quality threshold of my best friend's life. Wow. That's worst, fam.
But you know what? I don't think you're giving yourself an accolades because I don't know if you see this. One thing you're not doing that your parents did do is that you're not repeating the cycle of trying to force a relationship that doesn't work. You're not trying to force a relationship with the mother of your kids.
No.
Because, you know, it obviously, like, I think in the world that we live in right now, loneliness is obviously a big conversation where because you don't want to be lonely, you're attaching yourself to someone. You're not doing that.
No.
Do you give yourself the grace of that, though? Because I think that's important.
Yeah, but it's like, so what?
No, but so what? Because you could say the same thing to your mum. Like, she could have done that.
She could have done
so
what
it's
she
not
didn't.
it's not a so what, it's like it's very much a like I've been able to like, because the thing about now, and I know you would know about this, the cycle of life and the cycle of like relationships that we have with our parents, bonds that we create with our parents. You've been able to cut off a cycle in your family dynamic, and I think that's really important for you to kind of accept and kind of show grace to yourself for.
I thank God for that. It's got nothing to do with me. God has shown me that living for myself will make me very, very upset. I see bare famous actors top themselves. I see bare famous singers that like they claim they got everything, they kill themselves. Like, you haven't got everything. There's something money can't buy. And one thing money can't buy is sanity. One thing money can't buy is happiness. You can't. Doesn't matter. You have to condition your mindset to understand why you're here before you delve into a world. So within my culture, like, one thing I credit my dad for is that he was a DJ, but he wasn't a DJ for the masses. He was a DJ for people in Tottenham. He was a DJ for people in Hackney. He was a DJ in South. Anywhere niggas were, he was a DJ. So when I started doing the job I did, like in 2006, 2007, it was just to be whoever I was for my people. I can't cater to everyone. That's far too much responsibility. I don't know how white people grow up. I don't know how Polish people, I don't know what you do when you grow up, but I know what my people do when they grow up, whether they be Jamaican, Nigerian, Ghanaian. I've been around them my whole life. So what I will try to do is within this parameter of work, create some type of energy or understanding that this is a pathway that could potentially be helpful for you to do what you want. But there's no guarantee it's gonna work for fucking Amy from Middlesbrough. So when she scrutinizes me with her 89% of people, I get why I look bad. They've got more people here than me. And I'm saying, hey, if you're a nigga, be a nigga. And white people are here saying, hey, if you're in England, be more like us. I'm like, fuck that. I got my own culture, I got my own history. That is a mad, I don't even know what we spoke about, but that's a mad thing for me.
Do you know what? I think it's so important that you basically helped me, to be honest. You kind of dived into the section or the aspect of your life that I kind of wanted to dive into next, which is just talking about you as a person, because I think I touched on this in the very beginning, because I think there's like kind of like a level of misunderstanding, and I think what I get is very much someone who's experienced, even before watching your stuff, watching like your life story and listening to some of the interviews that you've had. So I think there was like one interview that you did that really not shocked me, but I was like, wow, I get it, like I understand. It was your interview you did, it was a conversation with you and Chucky. And I was like, wow. And I was listening to that, and I'm listening to you speak right now, and I'm like, this is somebody who's experienced a lot, and because of that has ultimately had to understand life at almost like at a faster pace, right? And the reason I say that is because obviously you've touched on this, and I don't know, it's probably your followers who would know this more than anyone, but you've obviously gone from a space where you lived in a household with, you know, 6 people living in a 2-bedroom house, right?
Lit.
You've had to give, money to your parents for you guys to have the most stable life structure or family structure as possible. You've had to do a lot of things that a lot of, kids, and I say kids with a lot of emphasis because you were a child, right? Who's had to take on a lot of responsibility, right? And I know at first hand what that would do to a child, right? So what's even bigger than what you've experienced, in having to give back money and give money and, support your parents and whatever else, is how you kind of navigated your way in an industry that wasn't almost born yet. Because you kind of started in the YouTube space at a point where there was, what is YouTube? What is creating content? What is that? What is there money in that? Is it lucrative? Is it fulfilling? Is it anything? You kind of started off at that point in your life when there was nothing.
I'll show you why though.
Go on, show me.
I screenshot something today.
Ooh, I'm excited. Show me.
I screenshotted the definition of culture, and I needed to find, there was a noun, the noun that made sense to me. And the noun that made sense to me was the ideas, customs, and social behavior of particular people or society.
Say that again.
So sorry.
I don't want anyone to misinterpret this or get it wrong.
So the definition of culture, with the second definition of Google, was the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society, and it had in open brackets Afro-Caribbean culture. So the reasons why I don't really care what I'm going through, I genuinely don't care. It doesn't mean anything. I may speak about it a lot, but it does hurt me from time to time, but it won't defer me from doing what I'm doing. Yeah. It's because all my people are going through this. So I speak about it to let you know it's a shared pain. Like, we all don't watch that. But I'm not talking to people that are not part of my culture. So people that are not part of my culture who genuinely think they are will have something to say. But I'm like, if your father didn't have to run from people saying nigger and beat the shit out of him, I'm not talking to you. If your mum had to talk to your dad purely because the amount of black people she knew that were male, she can count on bloody 2 hands, if that, I'm not talking to you. Like, if you don't remember that Iceberg Slim was making top 10 music and working in a barbershop in Walthamstow, I'm not talking to you. So when you get upset with what I'm talking about, it doesn't make sense to me. Because the perspective in which I'm talking from is real and genuine struggle from your family not having enough education on how to live in Britain because they're not from Britain. Like, that's what I'm talking to. And what happens is right now, because our culture and being back is so popular, there's people that just want to be a part of it.
But they don't understand the core of it. Does that frustrate you a bit? It feels like it does.
100%. Because, like, the reason why I love my people is I understand my struggle. I understand going to school or speaking to Miss Joseph and not being understood. I get all of that. So my thing is, so where's our place? Where's the place for people that are not understood? Why do we have to conform to be understood? So I think a lot of the reasons why I'm misunderstood is because I'm talking to my people. Black people are 3% of 65 million. That makes up like 1.2 million. So I'm not talking to the majority.
When you say it in numbers like that, it feels so mad.
But you need to deal with reality. Yeah. I think a lot of people deal with the reality that exists within their mind. And they don't understand they're mentally ill. You're genuinely mentally ill. I say that to offend you, and I say that because it's truth. And if you don't like that, I don't care. Like, who cares? Like, bro, deal with reality. If I'm making product for my people and we don't even make up 3/10 of the population, why do I expect myself to be popular? I don't. But I don't want to be popular. I want to do God's work. I don't care about being popular. The most popular guy in my school got B up in year 11, battered, fam. So I don't want to be popular. I want to do what's right.
You said 2 things that stood out to me just then. You said you want to do God's work and you want to do what's right. What does doing God's work look like for Poet?
God's work looking like for Poet is like something that allows people to feel good about themselves in a genuine aspect and push forward and help other people to do the same. So if I care about the human population, I have to think to myself, how does it grow? How do we help people? And I can't think about the world. I can only think about my culture. So if in my culture, I understand the struggles we have, not to fully, I don't know fully, but I understand some of the struggles we have. And I understand a lot of the places that we want to aspire to be. So my role within my community is to empower my people. So when empowering my people, I'm disappointing the majority of people.
But so you don't care.
I don't give a shit. So I would tell you, you're sick. If you go to BBC, I won't talk to you that much anymore. Not because I don't rate BBC, but I know if you go BBC, you have to compromise your style. If you have to compromise your style, that means you're compromising it for a group of people that you don't know. So if that's what you're doing, I have to take a step back.
That's so interesting, because does that mean for you that your priority is black culture
It's
rather than
always
the
been
masses?
black culture. You look at my content, in 2015, 2016, on Copper 90, I was racist. If I show people my DMs from 2016, they won't understand what they won't get it. My brethren, I'll say to my brethren, yo, my man's been racially abused. They'll say to me, yeah, but you get me, like, I've got to think about my brand. I've never thought about my brand when it comes to my people. You can look at all my work. I've done work for 14 years online. Yeah. I don't care about, like, my people are the most important thing to me, because without them, I don't have the personality I have. Without them, I don't have the job that I have. So then why would I get to a point where I'm making money now and just cater towards a demographic of individuals that haven't helped me? It doesn't make sense to me. So I just try help my people irrespective of anything.
If we're being completely transparent, do you feel like the black community, the black audience, internalize you to the magnitude that you would want them to, especially considering, because from what you're saying, your passion is a black people. And I feel like in terms of the people who have, from the comments I've seen, and you can correct me here, from a lot of the comments I've seen about, some of your content that's kind of gone viral, where people haven't been appreciative or whatever, the comments are from black people. So do any of those comments, or do the position that you sitting within the black community make you feel as though you are almost underappreciated from the work that you do?
Not at all. Not at all. The black community love me, and I love them, and I'm part of them, and I'm privileged to be part of them. This is what you understand. Before comments, I've never left comments. My people, we don't leave comments. We're involved in real life. And just because you're black doesn't mean you understand the black struggle. You're just black. Do you understand the black struggle?
Oh my God. Okay,
do you understand for you to credit someone for getting an MBE and then being a member of the British Empire, that means they've conquered your country, and you're saying, thank you for conquering my country. Like, why do I want to be happy about that? I learned the other day the Commonwealth Games is a celebration of all the countries that Britain or England has invaded. And I'm just asking, like, from a genuine perspective, just like from a human perspective of what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
Why do I want to be happy about that? And my dad was a proper Rasta. I haven't supported England my whole life.
Yeah.
In no World Cup, no nothing. You can check online, you can check everything. I've never supported England. And with Copper 90, that's the only time I saw it was a problem.
Oh, it was a problem in Copper 90?
Massive problem at Copper 90 with the people that worked there.
Were you very vocal about that in Copper 90? Because I know there was, like, obviously, you started out at Copper 90 and then things just kind of felt like it went into nothing after.
Because I tried to tell listen, at Copper 90, I was saying to them, black people are the litters. They didn't listen to me. I said, look, I was fighting to get Krypton Conan, Big Nasty, Wretch, all of these guys on the platform in 2012, 2013. I'm not sure, Paul, I'm not sure, poet. 3 years later, they're begging me. I've got emails, I've got texts, I've got everything. And I'm saying to them, I can see where the world's going. Do you know why? Because the country is letting more black people in. So the more you let black people in, the stronger of our influence will be. It can start off with Shaggy saying it wasn't me in 2000 or whatever, and it's going to end up with Tion Wayne and Ross. I already knew this. I swear on my kids' life. I don't think you're lying. This.
I don't think you're lying.
Not because I thought I'm smart. It's because if the country is bringing more ethnic minorities in, they understand struggle. We have more time because we're working class. So if people that are working 9 to 5s and they're middle class, they haven't got the time to figure out what's important in life or what's trendy. They haven't got that time.
Yeah.
The kids in school have got that time, and the people that work ain't got that time. And the people that ain't gonna work are going to be ethnic minorities because they've just arrived. So if you present them struggle, they will gravitate towards it. I already knew that. Me and my dad used to speak about things like that all the time. So in my head, I was like, this will be fine. I'm just gonna do content for black people because they're my people anyway. And most importantly, I may not be rewarded for it today, but in time I'll be rewarded.
I absolutely love that, and I think you needed to say that because I've never heard it like that. I've never heard you speak like that. I feel like you've obviously touched base, and I know how passionate you are about black culture, but I feel like maybe I can speak for a number of people in the room that I've never heard it to this depth before, and it kind of leads me to wonder. Because you are someone who kind of... Okay, so obviously, to be honest, right, I watched the other day an interview with you and Chucky. Not Chucky. Yeah, you and Chucky, but then a number of people, and I know that noticed that one thing that you do more than anything, and I don't know if you guys haven't watched any of Poet's content, I really suggest you do, but outside of like your space, I mean, like content outside of your world, where like you're the one doing where you're the one being interviewed, or you're the one being spoken to, where you're the one speaking to the people.
Yeah.
One thing that you do that I love is that you have this passion for like letting people know, especially black people, black entertainers, black people in the entertainment industry, black people in the media industry, know that have your own space. Create content for your own space. But the thing about you, and the beautiful thing about you, that I don't think that a lot of people are understanding, a lot of people are taking a lot of pride in, is that you're not afraid to like share this knowledge, like your knowledge, because there's a lot of people who have knowledge where they're able to like use to their own life and help, you know, manifest their own life and like grow their own careers and whatever else. But your thing isn't own. Your thing is black. Your thing is community. Your thing is I love you, so you need to know.
Yeah, like look, man. Imagine this. It's funny. I had a conversation with a friend the other day. I made Filthy Fellas when I was at Copper 90. When I was at Copper 90, I'm the biggest. No one's bigger than me and Vuj. I'm the biggest.
Yeah.
I don't need to make Filthy Fellas. It doesn't benefit me in any capacity, but it does benefit me. Do you know why? Because me doing Copper 90 is not helping my people, bro. That makes me look good. And I'll end up being Linford Christie or like, who's that other, all these old black dons that don't relate to no one in their community. You think I want to be that? I want to be Cameron, fam. I want to be Erykah Badu. I want to be Bob Marley. I want to be Beres Hammond. I don't care about being these famous black people that can't go back to their hood and chill out in the barbershop or chill out and get a patty. You think I want to be them guys? How am I going to go back to Jamaica and chill with my people if I'm just comfortable? And this is no disrespect to anyone that wants to do it. Like, do it. But eventually, one day, you're not going to be popular. Kids are not going to love you. You're not going to be part of every conversation.
Because they won't understand you.
Where do you go?
Yes.
Because England have just promoted Atomic Kitten. Looking back on where we just left. Like, they're not promoting any old school black guys. So you see, when you're old, this country's not going to embrace you. They've already showed you. Atomic Kitten. You go to England games, they show you their chance. You go to anything in life, they show you what they're attached to. And I have no problem with that. You see, when I go back home to Jamaica and I say Beres Hammond, he's very respected. In this country, he's not. And I think that's the same for Nigerian individuals. They go back to Nigeria and talk about respected Nigerian people, they'll get the respect. Same with Ghana, Congo, anywhere where you're from. So for me personally, because I have a stronger attachment to that because it is a part of who I am, that's all I talk to. That's all I cater to. So I already understand I'm gonna be misunderstood. I tell people, fuck corporations. Do you not understand? An industry exists after the idea, not before. So why would I rate the industry? You've existed to monopolize something that culture has created. So I rate the culture. I don't rate the industry. Like I don't even care about any of that. I genuinely don't care. You catch me tomorrow, Tottenham High Road, outside the barbershop, just drinking a Magnum and chilling with my people. That's where I feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable at the Brit Awards in a party with a bag of people where I'm just emphasizing I'm the minority and then we laugh every time because we get a free drink and some shit food that I don't care about. Like, I don't care about that. And I think people are afraid to do that because they don't love themselves, they don't accept themselves, they begrudge the hood to be a part of something which is scrutinizing the hood. I just don't get it.
Because I think what you're speaking about is very interesting, and I would absolutely love nothing more but for the whole of the black community who are in this media space to get to the level that you're at, where everything is about, you know, representing your blackness and owning it and just pushing it to the highest of level. But I think if we're being realistic here, if we're being very honest here, it takes a lot for you to get to that point. So I want to know, when was the point in your career, in your chapter, where you were like, nah, this is what it's about? What opened your eyes to kind of like spark that interest and spark that passion for you to be like, no, like this is it, that this is what really matters? Oh, you're speechless. I love that. I'd never seen Poet speechless before.
I don't speak to Jamie as much as I would love to.
Who?
Jamie. That's my guy. That's honestly one of the most important people in my life, without him knowing or maybe him knowing. But I love him to bits. And he said something on ZZ Mills, and it's what I've always said, but I've never had the ability, or I've never really had the ability to articulate it the way he is. When I started doing what I was doing, there was no place for me to get financial income. My mum told me to get a real job. People laughed at me. My friends went Miami on dates. Like, life was good for everyone, barring me. Like I wore the same shoes for a year and a half, and they were a size and a half too small for me.
You walked everywhere also.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I walked from I had a show on One Extra, not a show to be fair. I was featuring on a show with Twin, yeah. And I would walk home for an hour and a half from Tottenham Court Road or wherever it was to Wood Green. Like I walked home every day to sleep on a fucking sofa or on a bunk bed with my brother. Like, that was my reality. That was my life. So this sort of being passionate for black people, it's not like it's a conscious decision. This is genuinely all I know. I've never been affiliated with that part of the world. I've never said I'm going to make content to get 1 million views from a bag of people that I don't know. I don't care about that. And I mean this in the nicest way. People that do that consistently, I'm just bro, you're gonna end up and I don't even mean to disrespect these people, but bro, let's just be 100. You see gigs, nines, scraps. There's so many artists from our demographic that from the moment I saw them up until now, I don't think too differently. I'm so happy that they're in this world. And there are some artists that just focused on pop. And I won't go through them because I don't want to disrespect people within my community, but they know who they are. You were number one once upon a time, but now a record A&R wouldn't phone your phone ever. And it's forget what I think about that. Forget what everyone thinks about that. What do you think about that? You was the guy. You used to go Brit Awards, everything. And now you can't even get a Mobile Award. How do you feel about that? Do you know what that lets me know?
What does it mean?
You didn't care about your community. You didn't. If you cared about your community, they will consistently sing about you all the time. Giggs is consistently sung about because he cares about his community. And I can go on forever about so much individuals that consistently cater to their community. And as their community gets bigger, the money they make gets bigger, their profits get bigger. If you cater towards a group of people that have already got everything in check.
And also don't have any genuine connection with you.
And that's why I think some people think just because you're black, you're on TV and you're speaking, you're doing
bits.
You're not. If you're all your content, no one in your hood can relate to it. You just a white person with a nigga's face. It's just a howler. It's a stinker. And I've just never wanted to be that. I've always wanted to be, if you dissect me, you can cuss me in current culture or whatever, but if you literally break me down, what's my purpose? It's to empower my people. Not to empower the BBC or Nike or Puma. And I love all these people. Adidas. I don't care about these brands. Let's be honest. Without us, you lot are not lit. Michael Jordan, he's not from anything from Nike, but guess what? He makes you lot lit. Let's not lie. When Stormzy started doing Adidas, it's got nothing to do with Adidas, but guess what? He makes you lot lit. Let's not lie. When Kreps and Conan first started doing the Puma thing, let's not lie. He makes you lot lit. Go find me some artists from the other side that makes you lot lit like that. They don't.
How does that make you feel about the people in the black space who choose to occupy a space where it's for everybody and they're able to give into a culture that makes them more money rather than satisfying their community, but not only their community, but themselves?
I feel nothing. Do what you want, man.
Okay.
Life's a journey, man. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to learn stuff. And then eventually we're going to go, hey, my thing is when you realize what's going on, if you don't take it upon yourself to then capitalize on helping your people then, now you're officially living for yourself. Before then, if you're ignorant, you're ignorant. If you don't know, you don't know. No one should begrudge you. But the moment you get the knowledge to know that, wait a minute, this is not even helping anyone other than me, and you continue to pursue it, I think you're a coward. I actually think you're a pussy. I don't think you have the capacity to go, fuck it, let me try and help my people and help me at the same time. You're just a bit of a puss. And there's nothing wrong with that. Keep me out in, get some boots, then you can be puss in boots. That's lit.
Does that make you almost want to... So say someone within the black community, within the black space, who is stepping outside of the space that you find important, right? If they were to approach you and say, hey, poet, would love to do some work with you, are you more inclined to say an absolutely not than you are absolutely yes because of the space that they're sitting?
No.
So you would be
It depends on their intention.
Okay.
If your intention's good, but you're placing it within the wrong place, it doesn't matter. God, listen, Jesus was out here helping prostitutes, fam. Like, who the fuck am I to say I'm not going to help you because you're not doing what I want you to do? Doesn't matter if you're not doing what I want you to do. You're not my fucking you, cuz. Like, do what you want.
Yeah.
And I genuinely trust intention more than anything else. And in time...
How do you know intention?
You feel it.
You feel it? Are you a feelings person? Are you someone who's able to, like, speak to someone and be like, I feel your energy, I feel what you're about?
Not over a brief conversation, but like after many conversations and you away from me, because I understand within my job, a lot of people will just use people like me for whatever reason they have to get views or to look whatever. And so if you're using me, I don't want to be around you.
Do you feel like you've been used within the industry quite a lot?
Yeah, of course.
In what way?
For people to gauge whatever it is for their career. And guess what? I might have used people as well. I don't know. So they're not bloody pricks. We're all pricks, aren't it? We're hypocrites. So, but I try not to use people. I try to help people. I swear to God. Like, if you're doing well in life, you're probably not going to hear from me. I'm just going to leave you alone. You're doing well. But if you trip, I'll be there to pick you up and say, yo, fam, let's just keep running until you run. And when you run again, I'll disappear and leave you alone, man. Like, you don't need me. I just want to help people when they need help, not when they're cool.
You've got such a good spirit, poet. You really do.
I try.
And I knew it. And I think, obviously, going back to Yasmin, like, I think we've had, like, a few conversations about you and, like, your energy and what you're about. And I've just been like, nah, this is, for me, this is why I wanted to speak to you, because I think there's, like, a lot of realness in you that, I don't know why, it's so weird, because, like, I'm speaking to you right now and I'm like, I feel it, I hear it, and I know that everybody else, like, you know, on the team can feel it and hear it too,
I hope
right?
so. Touch me if you feel it.
Touch wood. No, I feel like we can, but... Like, for me, I always find it so interesting, but then I also recognize that, you know, camera time is very limiting and editing is very real, and, you know, and things that happen off camera are also very real, you know, and I think that's kind of the standpoint that I kind of wanted this show to be about, where it's, like, very much everything else is on the table, like, just you, like, the presence and the main thing, the main delivery of the conversation is about you and the realization of self, because at the end of the day, like, you've mentioned this quite a few times as well, that life is a journey, and it's an ever-going journey where you continue to learn more about yourself, where you become enlightened, where you become awakened, and where you become, you know, you just understand things, and that makes me want to dive into just your career as an entertainer. Like I said about in the early stage of this conversation, that you started off on this journey at a time where it wasn't real.
Yeah.
It wasn't normal. It wasn't anything, right? And also with yours is that you also were having to do things that, you know, children, emphasis on children, don't have to do. You were having to put into the household. You weren't, you know, your parents weren't very encouraging in terms of what you wanted to do and telling you, go for it, poet, you can do it, hustle, da-da-da. It was very much like, poet, go and get a 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
When you were put into those kind of conversation, those kind of situations, what kept you kind of going? What kept you feeling as though, do you know what? What everybody else has to say, I know what my vision is. I know what my connection with God is. I know what my journey is supposed to look like. What kind of was the thing that kept you going?
There's two incidents. The first one, it was peak. I was broke as fuck. And I asked my mum for £10. She laughed and said, no, you need to get a job. And then she found this, I remember telling a guy that's like my older brother. It's like 2010. And she's like, go get a job. And I went for a job. And imagine going for a job and being overqualified and still not getting it. I remember sitting down with the person and saying, all right, they phoned me and told me. And I didn't sit down with them, I'm lying to you. I remember sitting down with my mum, sorry. And I said to my mum, like, Mum, I went for a job interview to work in a school, to do youth work. They told me I'm overqualified. And they told me I didn't get the job. So I said to my mum, you see the space that you're asking me to occupy? It doesn't make sense. It's too confusing. See the space that I'm going to occupy? I have an understanding of it. And when I don't, I'll create my own facade of it, so I just have my own understanding. And if it means I'm not popular or anything like that, it doesn't matter. I can still pay my rent for the end of the month. And I'm happy. And that means everything to me. My mum thought I was chatting shit. And there's this boy called Mitch, which is a very special person.
Yeah.
Which is a very special person. And I love Mitch. He was part of a duo called Mitch and Suave. And we were in Water Street, Nando's, 2012 it would have been June or July 2012, the Euros. And there was a hotel next to it that had the dopest parties downstairs. I will not lie to you, they probably still do. And we were in there, 2012, I got no job, I've been made redundant because of the riots that happened in Tottenham. So like no one's got like any work or anything like that. Or even prior to that, they kind of made people redundant. So I'm broke as fuck, I don't know, man, it was broke, actually it was before that. I tell you like, it was before that because the riots happened in August. I remember it was the start of football season, so the first Tottenham game was postponed. And when we done this, it was June. So yeah, it was before the riots. So I kind of been made redundant from work and I left some aspects of work. So I was like, it's bullshit, man. I don't like people telling me what to do. We're at Nando's and it's me, Rico, Suave and some next guy. And Suave is me, Rico, Mitch, sorry, and some next guy. And Rico was Suave. And the whole time he's trying to convince us to go to this party. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, the Euros is starting next week. No black person does a Euro show. This is the perfect opportunity for us to capitalize on a market that's not there. And Mitch was on the same page as me, and Mitch is on it. Like, Mitch is on it, fam. He's on it. But I'm like, you're part of a duo. How is your partner not on it? Like, I don't get it. So then Mitch goes, we got a choice. We can either go to this party or we can go back to your house and create a set to shoot this thing. And what happened was there was 4 of us and we split. Me and Mitch went back to my house in Hornsey. And we created, I went back to my house, I'm just saying Hornsey. We went back to my house and we created something called Kebabs Like Shin Pads. And without that energy from Mitch, I began to wonder where everything would be. And obviously the energy from me, but it was Mitch is a special person because off the back of that, I got the opportunity to be on Copper 90. And there's no saying whether, if Mitch said, let's not do it, let's go to the party. There's no saying to know whether that show would have happened. It might still have happened. We had the idea, we had everything. But it
wouldn't have happened in the same light, perhaps.
Do you know where I'm coming from? And the energy from that show meant that Copper 90 said to me, we want Poet. We think that guy's dope. And then I got to go over there and I brought Vuj over there and then everything kind of happened to where we are today. So those 2 moments were key for me. One, my mum asking me, why haven't I got a real job? And me explaining to her. And then 2, being amongst a bag of people at my age group and us discussing what we can do to further our career. And only one person out of the 3 other individuals, or 4 of us all together, only one person said, yo, Paul, let's go try and help our career. And it's 2012. No niggas are doing football content.
At all.
None.
It wasn't real.
Like, it's just not happening. It's not happening online. But in our mind, we just believe because it's not happening, if we're the first ones, we can push it forward. And for that, I'm always, forever thankful to Mitch.
I love that. Have you ever expressed, because I've never heard this story before, but have you ever expressed this level of like understanding to Mitch before?
All the time. I love that guy. Like, he's one of my best friends by far. And one of the reasons is because Mitch is going to be extremely successful in life, if he is now. And it's because of his level of hunger. It doesn't matter what's happening in his life. Even if he's going through a bit of a weird period or he's going through a great period, like, I never worry about him. Very intelligent, he's very hardworking, and most importantly for me, he'll outwork everyone on this planet. I guarantee you.
You say that about yourself as well?
Yeah, 100%.
That you'll outwork anyone?
Yeah. Why do you believe that you're better than me? You believe you're better than me? Cool, I'll outwork you. You think it's all about being good? It's not.
How do you feel about new people entering the space that you occupy?
Love it.
Yeah?
I love it. It makes it grow. It makes it bigger. It means we dominate it. Do you know where I'm coming from? And I need more people to occupy it. That's why I try to help as much people as I can. Because the more of us in here, we stay here. The more of us that understand where we're coming from, what we're trying to achieve, the more people that go home and help their family, help their mum, help their dad, help their brothers, help their sisters, help their cousins. The more people that go home and do that. Because I'm just going to be totally honest with you, 100. When I used to watch TV back in the day, fam, and this is no disrespect to people from other, they ain't out here helping their family like the way I see black people do it. Black people will make a post, I bought a car for my mum. I bought a yard for my mum.
Yeah, because we know what that means. We know the core of what that means. We've seen our parents without cars and without this, without that.
But we made that popular.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is, if you have an understanding of that before it's something that you do to get like numbers and stuff like that, if you have a real understanding of that, you're my people, fam, because our mums made the sacrifice by coming to this country to try and help us. They made a mad sacrifice. So at the end of that sacrifice, if they have financial freedom for the rest of their life, even if it's only 15 years, fuck me, bruv. Their child deserves a fucking everything. Everything.
Is that why when you see individuals like Chunks and Philly that you're, because do you know what, and I have to just say this again, just for anybody who hasn't watched the video that I'm talking about. There was a video that you did with Chunks, and a video you did with Chuck and Philly. They were both in the interview. It was you and Vuj, and you were talking to them. And what stood out to me more than any, because it was like an hour conversation, what stood out to me more than anything in that conversation was just how passionate you were about them being able to create things in their spaces.
Yes.
Is that why? Because obviously you've been in this industry before them, you've seen the transitions, you think how things have, built, how things have just transitioned completely.
Yeah.
That you know it more than a lot of people, because the reality is you've been in this thing before. A lot of people have even been able to even analyze or see how lucrative or how beneficial it can be, right? Is that why you kind of go so hard? Because you do go so hard. Like, is that why you go so hard in ensuring that, like, understanding the importance of being able to say, this is my content on my platform? Because people, I don't know how many people know this, but you have such a big role to play in Maya's career also, Maya Jama.
Loads of people, and they've had loads of people, and they've had a big impact to play in my career as well. Like, I've tried to help loads of people, and the reason why I speak about it is because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
If you wanted to drive loads of cars and you spoke about loads of cars that you drove, this is my equivalent. I love helping my friends.
Yeah.
I fucking love it, knowing that they don't have to work a 9 to 5, knowing that they can take their mum abroad. Like, that shit fills me with so much joy. I can't describe it. I genuinely can't describe it.
Try to describe it to me. What does that joy feel like? What does that joy look like for you?
It feels like genuine independence. You don't feel like someone's bitch to me. And the reasons why I was trying to say to Chunks and Philly, hey, boys, do your thing. Because when they catapulted and they done what they done, it was based upon how incredibly talented they are and the platform they're on. So imagine you're incredibly talented on your own platform. That means you get everything, all the emails, all the money, all the gal, everything. If you're incredibly talented on somebody else's platform, you're getting shortchanged somewhere. And I don't want my people to get shortchanged because we come into the game shortchanged.
Yeah.
So why should we continue to be shortchanged? No, give us everything that we deserve. Because in 2012, K-Coke had to make a song called Lay Down Your Weapons. And in 2020, we got gun lean. So that lets me know the powers that be don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about because there's no consistency. Within 8 years, everything's changed. Everything's changed.
Wait, sorry, hold on. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this because I think I don't know if it's flown back anyone's head, but I don't want it to fly over mine. You said lay down your guns and then you said gun leans. Why that comparison? Because they're two completely different things.
Because how can you tell one of the leading people, K-Coke, within our parameter of music to make a song with Real Aura as the hook called Lay Down Your Weapons?
Ooh, okay.
Lay down your weapons. Every successful part of music right now is about killing, man. So that lets me know you thought that was the best thing to do, but it wasn't, because 8 years later, look what's going on. So if you was consistent, the same way religion's consistent, the same way all the things in life that are prominent today are consistent. If you were consistent like that, there'll be no problems. But now when K-Coke can't make that song now and he has to make songs about violence, the mass media that supported him before don't want to support him. Why not? So I'm saying to you, stay with your family, because with your family, they support you irrespective of whatever. It doesn't matter. J House comes out of stage from coming out in prison and goes on stage with Drake. We don't care. We understand you make mistakes. But within the commercial world, you have to say lay down your weapons. And then later on, when we all realize that weapons are quite prominent, we can say, bollocks, fam. Like, it's like in the commercial media.
No, weapons are prominent. So does singing things like J House coming out with WizKid fill your heart with fulfillment and joy and happiness?
The day I saw J House come on stage with Drake, and I saw it, I must have cried invisible tears. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, I prayed to God, fam. I thanked God. I thanked God so much. I pray for J House every night. I pray for loads of people that I don't even talk to. I pray for them every night. I pray for them every morning, because I just hope God protects them as much as he's protected me, because they deserve the protection.
I love that. So, okay, one thing I did want to ask you, though, because I think it's important, and I know that you have so much to share on this, because okay, there was a period where you had a conversation with, I think it was Chucky, and you was talking about, I mentioned Chucky Bears in this conversation, but you were having a conversation with him, and it was about your kids, and you kind of got emotional about that because you cried. And I remember watching conversations after that came out of people with other podcasts, you know, who were saying that, oh, like men shouldn't get emotional, like, yeah, deal with your shit, like, off the camera. I don't know where the voice is coming from. I'm so sorry if men don't usually sound like that, but whatever. But yeah, like, hella men were coming on talking about, you know, like, get a grip, like, deal with your shit off camera. But as a woman, for me, I saw that and I was like, right, there's emotion here. There's things that, you know, humans, like another, outside of like, you know, being a male, being a female, a human is dealing with emotions that has him feeling as though he needs to be vulnerable in this moment and feeling as though he needs to express himself. And I appreciated that, right? So I kind of, it makes me not want to end this conversation without asking you, in that moment where you felt as though you could be vulnerable, you could be honest, you could express yourself, you could let your emotions be seen by the world and not give a shit about that. How did you feel when you saw some of people's reception to that and how people took that?
But like I said, like, no one's been through my experience, bro. Like, no one's traveled to Sweden 3-4 times in a row and not seen their kids and still gone. Like, my trips to Sweden were like £1,200, my nigga. Like, I'm paying for this on a Friday night, on a Thursday night to go on the next day, to go on Saturday, to knock on the door, to not see my kids, to wait all day for the next day to go and not see them and then carry back. And I'm not talking to you when I say, and when I'm upset, when I'm emotional. I'm talking to the people that are going through the same shit as me. So if you don't get it, there's not, like, don't put yourself under pressure to understand it. There's a group of individuals that understand where I'm coming from. Whether it's the right or wrong thing to do, time will tell us. And for me, time has told me it was the right thing for me to do.
How has time told you that?
Because my kids call me Papa. My kids call me Papa. There was a time in life where they didn't even acknowledge me.
Wow.
They didn't know my name. They're 4 years old now. I had to fly to Sweden time after time during a global pandemic when everyone's worrying about COVID. I'm worried about if my kids are safe because of the behavior of individuals in and around them. Like, you know who it is, do you know where I'm coming from? And I'm having to deal with her behavior, the responses from the guys that are dealing with her or think that that's behavior. Like, it's weird to me because everyone screams BLM, but when I'm out here actively trying to be a father, half the people screaming BLM for Instagram likes are not trying to encourage me or help me to look after my children for whatever reason. And do you know what? It's entirely up to you. You don't have to. But that's what I'm trying to say to you. The consistency within people, within this dynamic is very confusing to me. That's why I don't care about the industry. I care about life. And if you're a good person in life, it will translate within work. If you're just a good person in work, it won't translate in life. In life, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? And at the end of the day, if no one wants to be like supportive of me, it doesn't matter. I got to see my kids, my boy kissed me and he hugged me and I could tell he missed me. And if it meant that I had to go on fucking half-cast and cry, I'll do it fucking again. And I saw there's certain niggas, their kids live 15 minutes away. They won't even travel to see them. And without me bragging, it's not about bragging about money, like every time you see me go to Sweden to see my youths, it's cost me more than a bag. Sweden's not far. Some Sweden trips have cost me $6,000 and I haven't seen them. And I'll still go back. Certain niggas are spending $6,000 on a chain. I don't care about that stuff. I need to see my youths. I need to take care of them. I need to try my hardest to be within their life as much as possible as I can.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about genuine. I know some niggas that just pay child support and that's it, they don't care. My brother, when your child turns 18, you have to have a conversation with them. What have you contributed? Child support. The fuck is child support, bro? Child support is being there in real life. And I think religion is the strongest, religion is the worst, money is the worst religion. And because of that, people are very confused on how to look after people, children being one of them. You think finances guarantees your child to be happy? Look how much rich people top themselves at like 20, 25, out here fucking pigs. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you lot? Principles help people, not money, principles.
Beautiful. So, that was perfectly articulated, and it makes me, and I know it's a little bit off topic, but from what you've just said, but as you were speaking, all I could get is like the version of you at 16, 15, watching your parents' dynamic, watching your parents' journey, watching life, listening to your teacher, telling your parents, come in, we need to chat. All I could think about was that poet and like almost you as the individual that you are today, with the knowledge that you have today, reconnecting with that individual at 15, 16 or whatever else, saying like what, for me, the question I'm asking you is what would you say to that version of yourself at that time, considering where you are now? So from the space you are now, what would you say to that version of you?
Thank you.
I love
Thank you for being so unapologetically yourself and not being afraid to be ignorant from, in front of a group of educated people so they could show you the way.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people showed me the way, you know what I'm saying? Like shout out like Tyson. Showed me the way, fam. Like such a great person. The Mitches, the Wheezies, the Peps, the Yinkas, the Geordies, the Tigos. Like I am lucky, bro. Like I'm lucky. I've had a lot of people show me the way. Maya, Little Yaz, like there's bare people that have taken their time out in their day and they care about me. They genuinely care about my 24 hours. And I'll do whatever I have to do to help them, people that I've mentioned, and there's loads more. I can go on forever. Vuj, I will do whatever, Alhan, I'll do whatever it takes. Chucky, Dan, Margs, you name them, I will do whatever it is for these people, I swear to God. And
but outside of those people, because I know those people, and I'm not downplaying the impact they've had in your life, but almost just to round off like this amazing conversation, what would you say to that poet? Is like for me the main bit that I'm like, that's where I want to end on. What do you say to that poet?
Life is a journey, and no one incident defines you. Consistency does. If you're consistently a prick, then you're a prick. If you're a prick one time, you're not. You were just a prick one time. And that's what I would say to him, to encourage him, to let him know your 17 years isn't a definition of consistency. It's a definition of experimenting. And eventually you'll find out the right path for yourself and everything could be fine. So, your intent is the most important thing, not your action.
That was amazing. I have to clap. You need to give me a hug. You need to give me a hug. I'm like so impressed. Like that was amazing. I'm just